Hi folks, Kev here again. This video I wanted to talk about triads and string sets. One of the problems you come across when you're recording, making your own music, when we use these big 6 and 5 string chord shapes like your E shapes and your A shaped bar chords, they can get quite muddy in the mix because you get a lot of frequencies that are competing with each other. So one of the tricks that the pros use is to use triads, so bringing them down to just 3 string chords. So, now on their own they might not sound that great, but within a mix they sound brilliant. And because they're still containing all 3 notes of the triad, they're still the full chord. So what we can do is split the guitar up into string sets, so looking at the fretboard differently. Now, I'm going to stick to the key of A. If you remember from the first video in this series, we mapped out the entire fretboard in that key, or certainly between the nut and the 12th fret, because after that it just repeats anyway. So, if I take the 1st, 2nd and 3rd strings, or the E, B and G strings, and take that A major triad, I get as my first position, and I have a root, a 3rd and a 5th. I can slide that up from that position, so that's like the top 3 strings of your A, your cowboy A chord. Still a chord because the triad, all 3 notes of the triad there are there, the root, 3rd and the 5th. My next one is like what would be your E-shaped major chord at the 5th fret, which is also an A. But again, we just take the top 3 strings and we get a 3, 5 and a root there. So same 3 notes but in a different order. We take that up again to a D shape, and we play it up here on the 9th and 10th frets. We get a 5 root 3. So they're pretty cool. You can use them in a number of different ways. You can use them to play rhythm, you can use them within your solos, you can also use them to help navigate about the fretboard. So if you notice that appeared 3 times between the nut and the 12th fret, and each time it appeared the notes were in a different order. So these are what we call inversions. So root 3 5, 3 5 root, 5 root 3. And that works all the way across the fretboard. So just go through that one more time. On the 1st string set, the strings 1, 2 and 3 are E, B and G strings. 2nd fret on the G and B strings, an open E string. Gives you root 3 5. Move that up to the 6th fret on the G string and the 5th fret on the B and E strings. We get 3 5 root. Move that up to a D shape on the 9th and 10th fret, so G string on the 9th fret, G string on the 9th fret, B string on the 10th fret, and 9th fret on the high E string. And we get 5 root 3. Next set down is going to be strings 2, 3 and 4, B, G and D. We're going to get 5 root 3 down here on the 2nd fret. Move that up to the 2nd position, which is based around your E-shaped bar chord at the 5th fret, which again is an A chord. We're just going to play root 3 5, D, G and B strings. Back up here to the 11th fret on the D string is going to give you a 3rd, 9th fret on the G string is going to give you a 5th. 10th fret on the B string is your root, sorry. So 3, 5, root. Next set down is going to be your G, D and A strings. And this time we're going to play 4th fret on the A string and 2nd fret on the D and G strings. What we get there is 5, root, 3. Again, move that up to the middle of the neck, to the basing it around that E-shaped bar chord. On the 5th fret, we play 7th fret on the A, 7th fret on the D, 6th fret on the G, and we get 5, root, 3. Move that up again to our next position, and we're going to play like a C shape here, and we're going to get 5th fret, 12th fret on the A string, 11th fret on the D string, and 9th fret on the G string, and we get root, 3, 5. And then the last set is going to be strings 4, 5 and 6, or D, A and E strings. 5th fret on the E string, 4th fret on the A string, 2nd fret on the D string. We get root, 3, 5. Then we're going to slide up here all the way up to the 9th fret. I'm going to play 9th fret on the E string and 7th fret on the A and D strings. We get 3, 5, root. And finally, right up to the very top, to the 12th fret on the E and A strings and the 11th fret on the D string, we get 5, root, 3. So that's 4 string sets and 3 ways and 3 inversions per string set. So 12 ways we can play the same chord. So now if we apply that to like the major scale in the, I think it was the second or third video we looked at, it was the second video. In the second video we looked at how the chords were within a key were made up. You can then use these same shapes to play all the chords in that key. So remember, minor chords have a flattened third and diminished chords have a flat third and 5th. So we'll just use this top string set to demonstrate, and you can figure out the rest yourself. You can have fun with it. Try applying it to chord sequences that you know, like your classic 1, 5, 6, 4 chord progressions. And you'll find that you probably, if you use combinations of these different string sets to play your triads, you can probably cover a lot of them in without really moving your hand much and doing very little changes between them. You'll find how close those chords actually sit together. But just do it across the neck. So A. My next chord is a minor, because remember it's major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. So our 1 chord, A major. Our 2 chord is minor, so I'm going to flatten the 3rd, so there's a B minor, and a C sharp minor. I can use the same shape again. D major, E major is the same. Now I could go up here and play this one, or I could play an E triad here as well. F sharp minor, then G sharp diminished, and then back to A major. Really handy to know, really useful to use, especially if you're recording your own music and you're putting other stuff around it. Stop things from getting cluttered and muddy in the mix. And also great to use if you're soloing. You can drop in those triad shapes and pick your way through them. And you can also use them to navigate around the neck as well. So you can jump from a shape up here to a shape down here. Yeah, it's just handy to know and really useful to use. In the next video, I'm going to have a look at transposing shapes. So using the capo, how we can place some of those tunes that use awkward shaped barcodes, for those of you that hate the barcodes, and put them into much more manageable chord shapes that are, you know, these basic first position chord shapes, and still keep the tune in the original key. That's not necessarily just about making things easier. Sometimes it opens up other options, but we'll cover that in the next video. Anyway folks, cheers for watching. Bye bye.